Kari, almost in an unprecedented move, your opponent running for governor on the Democrat ticket for Arizona, Katie Hobbs, she's refusing to debate you. It's almost unprecedented where the gubernatorial debate, it's televised, she's refusing to show up and speak face to face with you and the voters. This shocked me. And I'm curious, what does she say her reasons are? And if there's any difference, what do you think her actual reasons are for being scared to take part in a debate with you?
You're right, it is unprecedented. Since we've had these clean election debates, no candidate has ever skipped out. Let's face it, it's the job interview, right? This is kind of the official job interview. We stand before the people on a debate stage, and the people are the hiring managers, and we tell our hiring manager what we want to do on the job. What are we going to do for Arizona? What are we going to do for the good people of Arizona? She's unwilling to do that. And she's coming up with all kinds of excuses. Oh, she's a conspiracy theorist. We don't want to debate her. Well, if that's the case, then come out and call me out for it. I'm happy to be called out, and I can explain everything I've ever said.
You should be easier to debate if you're a conspiracy theorist, like you should be easy to prove wrong.
Right. Oh, wow. It should go really well for her if that's the case. Then the other excuse was, well, the Republican primary debate was a circus. It was a circus atmosphere that embarrassed Arizona on the national stage. No, it wasn't. I mean, was it perfect? No. Did we throw some blows? Of course we did. The Republicans are willing to meet up and argue points and make sure that the people know what's going on. It wasn't my choice to have the two candidates who were polling at less than 2% there, and I think that was a mistake, but the PBS station made that call, and you could argue maybe they made that call to make Republicans look bad. Who knows? But we showed up. We had the courage to show up, and we went through all of that, and we gave the people our ideas for the state. Conversely, she didn't have the courage to show up in her own Democrat primary debate. So this is a habit of hers. She's embarrassed to show up because she knows she's bankrupt when it comes to ideas. She knows that her background as a legislator and her voting record is outrageous. For example, she voted against the border wall. She voted against a virtual border wall. She voted against funding our border task force and strike force twice. And she voted against even asking the federal government to help us pay for the cost that we incur due to a wide open border. At the same time, she sponsored legislation to introduce sex education in kindergarten. She knows her policies are horrible. She voted against nearly 90% of the time legislation to help small business. And it is a matter of public record and fact that she was twice convicted of racism. 2 juries unanimously found her guilty of racism for racist and sexist hiring practices. When a woman in her office, when she was in the legislature, found out that she was making $30,000 less than her white male counterparts, this is a woman of color, she brought this to the attention of Katie Hobbs and said, hey, what's going on? Why am I making $30,000 less? Instead of doing the right thing and remedying that immediately and apologizing, Hobbs fired the woman. The woman sued twice, represented herself both times, and won both times. And because of that, the people of Arizona are paying out nearly $3 million in settlement charges and settlement payments because of Katie Hobbs' racism. She knows all of that's going to come out on the debate stage. And she's afraid of that. And she probably should be, because her background, her record is abysmal. Not to mention she is the Secretary of State. She still has our Secretary of State's office closed down because of COVID, if you can believe that. Yeah, so if you want to do business with the Secretary of State's office, you've got to do it via online. And this is a real problem. The people are not getting the service they deserve from the Secretary of State's office. She's been in charge of the elections, and they've been not run well, as you know. And she happened to call, as Secretary of State, Republicans Nazis. Now, wow, you're representing the people of the state when it comes to elections, and you call half the vote or more Nazis? This is outrageous. She knows she will get destroyed on the debate stage, and that's why she won't show up, and that's why she didn't show up when it came to running against the Democrats. She wants to sit and hide in her basement like Joe Biden did.
It makes sense. I mean, in my opinion, if someone stands for something worth standing for, what they stand for will hold up to scrutiny open conversation, debate. But if someone doesn't stand for anything worth standing for, maybe they stand for an agenda, not principles, not the best interest, of course that can't stand up. It just crumbles. So the hide and go seek strategy makes sense amongst that context. But you did, when she announced, hey, I'm not willing to debate Kari Lake, you did something almost the opposite. You launched a kind of like a talk to everybody tour where you did the opposite of hiding. You launched a tour. You're going around to people in the communities and saying, hey, ask me anything. I'm interviewing for this job. You're the managers. You're the ones who will hire me. So tell me what's on your mind. I really admired that.
Well, initially we said, look, okay, if you aren't going to show up for the debate, let's make you an offer you can't refuse. You pick the date. You pick the place, you pick the moderator, and Katie, you can even ask the questions. I will be there. And she didn't accept that either. So then we decided to take this job interview on the road all across Arizona. We're calling it the Ask Me Anything Tour, the job interview tour. And we are drawing huge crowds. And I don't say that in a boastful way. I say that because the people of Arizona care deeply. They know this election is the most important election of our lifetime. If we don't get it right, we may lose the state of Arizona. We may see somebody come in here in the form of Hobbs and adopt the outrageous, asinine policies that have driven California, Oregon, Washington, Illinois into the ground. She looks at those states and she sees utopia. She sees the crime on the streets. She sees the homeless problems. She sees the taxes being raised through the roof, or people are losing more than half of their paycheck to taxes. And she's okay with that. That's what she will bring us. And she will bring us basically what we're seeing with Joe Biden, which is disastrous policies that are hurting our families. We just had a great victory last legislative session where we are now funding the student and not the system here in Arizona when it comes to education. Huge victory for education freedom. She's opposed to it. She wants to roll it back. She doesn't want people to be able to go, parents to be able to choose the right school for their children. And even though she went to a public or a private school, her daughter went to a charter school, she doesn't want that same option for Arizona families. I do. I don't want you to be trapped in a failing school because of your zip code. I want you to be able to send your children to the best school for them. We also have a policy where we want to bring in trade school training, vocational training, and career certification in high school after the 10th grade so our kids are ready to go, ready to hit the ground running right after graduating high school. We shouldn't have to send our kids off to college for so many of these jobs that don't require a college degree, where they flounder and many times get under heaps and heaps of debt. Let's get them ready in high school. Capitalize on that time we have them in the classroom to get them trained for the real world.